Good evening, folks. I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. We begin tonight with a topic that's been top of mind for many Canadians over the past few weeks. The federal budget was released this afternoon, and it has a heavy focus on housing to get Gen Z and millennials into affordable homes. Cheryl Jan has more now on what the budget all means, especially for us here in Northern BC, in tonight's top story.
Housing and affordability were just two items addressed in the federal budget. Calling it a true Team Canada effort, the budget lays out an ambitious housing plan.
Together, we are putting into action a plan to build nearly 4 million homes by 2031 and to unlock the door to the middle class for more young Canadians.
How are you going to do that? Like that is unbelievable. You know, for a government that in 9 years has done nothing. And you know, so how are you going to, that's a pretty ambitious plan, whether it's modular or not, you know.
And as predicted, the budget targets the wealthiest with higher taxes.
We are making life cost less. We're driving the kind of economic growth that will ensure every generation of Canadians can reach their full potential. And we're making Canada's tax system more fair by ensuring that the very wealthiest pay their fair share.
But as Todd Doherty notes, the budget is full of high spending to the tune of $52 billion that Canadians will have to bear at a time when they can least afford it.
This spending, they don't get that this money that they're spending isn't theirs, it's Canadians. It comes from Canadians. They have to find a way to do this. And so somebody has to pay for this. And it's on the backs of Canadians, and that's the unfortunate thing. And I don't believe Canadians can take it anymore. I mean, the cupboards are bare, the wallets are empty. You know, I know that people in our riding are struggling to put food on the table.
Doherty says he will be combing through this budget over the next few days to see if there's anything that will benefit this riding. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Some disturbing findings by authorities now. The North District RCMP has confirmed that human remains were found 55 kilometers east of Prince George at the Beauron River rest stop back on Sunday, April 14th. Police say the North District Major Crimes Unit is leading the ongoing investigation. The identity still needs to be confirmed, and no further details are available at this time, but more information may be released as it becomes available. And an investigation is underway into a fire that took place on Chestnut Drive. Fire crews responded at about 10:30 in the evening to an active monitored alarm at a residence in the 4000 block of Chestnut. Once they arrived, crews found smoke and flames coming from a single-family dwelling. Crews from 3 fire halls worked for 3 hours to extinguish the fire. One occupant of the residence was fatally injured in this fire. Property loss due to the fire is estimated at $2,500. Excuse me. $250,000.
Our crews were actually dispatched to a report of an active fire alarm in a home, and then partway to the scene they were updated that it was a working fire. The occupant had all the, what we can tell at this point, the measures in place. Fire alarm activated, it notified us to respond. We responded in a quick fashion. We don't know those answers yet. We have an investigation team up there right now working on investigation. So our information is limited at this point, but it is, it's always tragic for us when we have those. But I will say our crew from our dispatch dispatchers did a great job of assessing and seeing the difference and making the changes and getting the appropriate crew dispatched, and our crew on scene did an amazing job to fight the fire and do a search to at least rescue and then coordinated with BC Ambulance efforts to revive.
Mass timber is the hot new commodity in the construction industry, and it's a rapidly growing market, not just in our country, but the entire world. Given that forestry is one of Prince George's biggest industries, and the fact that we have the UNBC Wood Innovation and Design Center, one of the province's first mass timber buildings, our community is poised to benefit greatly from the growing interest in mass timber. Minister Jagrup Brar visited Prince George today and toured the UNBC Wood Innovation and Design Center to learn more and to see how we can become a world leader in manufacturing mass timber. Tommy Osborne brings us the story.
BC has been leading the country in mass timber buildings and manufacturing, and a growing global interest in it has Prince George fantastically positioned to see huge economic benefits.
We are promoting Prince George internationally through our trade and investment office globally in 22 different locations globally. We are doing, taking actions at all levels to promote Prince George and, of course, to promote mass timber.
Mass timber is thick, compressed layers of wood designed to create strong structural load-bearing elements. And recently, the provincial government increased how tall mass timber buildings can be, going from 12 to 18 stories. Brar says this is one of many ways the government is pushing mass timber, as it also sponsored and hosted several global conferences to promote BC's production ability.
We have created good demand locally, and of course there's a demand internationally and in North America. But now we have to create capacity. So we are investing to make sure that we have enough facilities who actually, build mass timber.
Beyond the economic gains, boosting our mass timber industry could create huge benefits in other areas too.
Mass timber can address the climate change and housing crisis and also create good jobs, well-paying jobs actually, moving forward for the people of British Columbia and people of Prince George.
Mass timber is considerably more energy efficient when it comes to things like heating and cooling compared to buildings made out of concrete or steel. But you may be wondering, is it fire safe? And the answer is actually yes. Engineers explain that while it may sound counterintuitive, mass timber is equally as fire safe, if not perhaps even more so, than buildings made of concrete or steel.
We can expose the wood, but then we will increase the cross section to consider the burning, and then the burning of wood is predictable, and then when it charges, and it can actually protect the building from burning, and then also from collapsing.
It's too early to say when exactly we can expect more mass timber manufacturing facilities in Prince George, but Brar says he is working hard on bringing investment into our community, meaning Prince George could soon be a major player in a rapidly growing mass timber market. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
And with more on this interesting topic, Tommy Osborne joins us in studio now. So, Tommy, you mentioned about the fire safety aspect, but what about the strength of mass timber when compared to, let's say, concrete or steel?
Well, absolutely, and Professor Zhu explained that in terms of material strength, wood, of course, is not as strong as concrete or steel, but it can be as strong when you consider the whole sum of the building, because when you're making a building, it's not just the individual material strength, it's the sum of all the parts. For example, Professor Zhu mentioned that wood's strength to density ratio is actually better than steel. And that means it can handle extreme stresses better than steel. For example, tectonic shifts, earthquakes, or in our very specific case, the building that exploded right beside it.
Right.
So yeah, and it withstood that incredibly well. And there may be cases where, let's say, for example, a building is using a hollow steel beam. If it was a mass timber building, you could just use a solid wood beam and you would get the same result. Structurally, it could bear the same weight.
So I want to shift gears here. You mentioned that it's a growing industry, but just how big are we talking here?
Well, the provincial government and sort of the world expects this to be huge. For example, the provincial government's website says mass timber could be one of the leading materials used in construction around the world. By 2027, it says that the engineered wood market is expected to grow to a $400 billion industry. And as for provincially, by 2035, we could be getting more than $400 million of that.
Wow.
So it's going to be huge in our province as well. Brar said Prince George specifically is one of 3 markets that he's been heavily advertising to the world to get more investors in. So Prince George is expected to see a big chunk of that $400 million. Of course, this is projected for 2035, which is still a ways away, but we can still see the growth even today. Brar says 420 mass timber buildings have been built in our province, 300 or are currently in construction, but 370 of those have just been last year.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. We don't have a ton of time left, but just quickly, you mentioned it's as good or maybe better than concrete or steel, but can you give some other instances why this is becoming such a point of interest for so many different companies?
Absolutely, and to get it straight to the point nice and quick, it is environmentally friendly. These mass timber buildings can be 90% more efficient than other buildings. And Professor Zhu said it can also be good for mental health. He said that studies show that when you're in a wood building, it can make you happier. Just think of how happy you are when you're in a log cabin. happen. It's a similar style effect.
You know what? It's a good point there, Tommy. Thank you very much for your insight on that. An update now on a story we've been following for weeks. Fisheries and Oceans Canada says plans for another attempt to rescue the orca calf stranded off the coast of northwest Vancouver Island will be finalized over the next few days. The calf, who's been trapped alone near Zaballo since her mother died 3 weeks ago, has been the focus of multiple joint rescue attempts between the departments and the Haudenosaunee First Nation. Martin Haulena, a veterinarian with the Vancouver Aquarium, says an earlier attempt involved trying to direct the calf by banging on pipes to create loud noises underwater, as well as a series of lines suspended at regular intervals to create an underwater wall. Now, despite the failed attempts, the whale remains in relatively good condition. It appears she's been foraging for food such as salmon and rockfish. Let's hope that she continues to hang in there. And for the 12th time, UNBC has been ranked as one of Canada's greenest employers. It recognizes the university's efforts in sustainability with things like lighting improvements. And as you're about to hear, there's plenty more to build on.
Sometimes we are doing things without even realizing this is actually contributing towards the sustainability. And in order to give an organizing framework, now those sustainable development goals are there. So effectively, although the university has not in the past mapped to say, okay, like whatever we are doing, how it fits into the sustainable development goal, but we start thinking about it, there are lots of things which are already doing, probably doing better than many other institutions.
How about this news? Our province is celebrating a landmark moment as it just planted its 10 billionth tree. Since reforestation programs began in 1930, every year BC has been planting trees, with 2 billion trees being planted in the last 7 years alone. Last year, a total of 305 million seedlings were planted, with one of those being the landmark tree to get us to 10 billion. The trees are mainly planted by forestry companies who are legally required to undertake reforestation efforts, but last year also had 50 million trees planted by the government itself and an additional 5 million planted by First Nations. The BC government says its reforestation efforts aim to reduce greenhouse gases by 2 million tons of carbon dioxide per year. While the brunt of the pandemic is officially over for the most part, health officials continue to monitor the spread of SARS-CoV-2 to ensure the illness is controlled. As part of these preventative measures, BC is offering free access to the spring COVID-19 vaccine booster. Sam Bennison has more on this week's To Your Health.
And now To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
The province has begun inviting people to get the new spring COVID booster. The program is designed to further protect those who are at risk of serious side effects from the illness.
So they started a new booster program last week for anyone over 65 or any Indigenous people over 55 years old or any members of long-term care facilities. It's really just trying to target the extra vulnerable populations that are out in the community. It also has any adults who might be extremely vulnerable because of certain immune conditions. They are also welcome to get another vaccine if it's been 6 months since their previous.
If you have not yet to receive any COVID-19 vaccines, it is recommended to get the latest booster. If you're not part of any of the demographics, but it has been 6 months since your last vaccine and you feel you need a new shot, it is available. However, you will not receive an invitation and you will need to request one from a pharmacy or a doctor.
This spring booster campaign is the same strain of the booster vaccines that were available in the fall. So if you did miss out on the fall, now is actually an opportunity where you could get that version as well.
The vaccine is available at primary care clinics and pharmacies. You can register to be notified of the latest vaccines by visiting the Get Vaccinated website.
You can pop by any of our locations to get one. It's always best if you book an appointment online using the Get Vaccinated system, but we can probably handle a few walk-ins too if you can't navigate the system very well.
Alongside the announcement of the new booster, the province adds that given the decreased rates of viral respiratory infection in BC, the mask requirements implemented in healthcare settings during last fall will no longer be required at all times, but are encouraged if sick. Sam Bennison, CKPG News.
To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
As of this morning, the lowest gas price in Prince George was sitting at $1.64.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest price in the province is in Kamloops at $1.61.9 per litre. Manitoba currently has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.42.2 per liter, while BC has an average price of $1.94.5 per liter.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Try one of our delicious stuffed cheesy breads, paired up with chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Prince George Gymnastics Club will have some representation at the 2024 Western Canadian Artistic Gymnastics Championships this coming weekend. Anthony Correa caught up with one athlete and a coach who are preparing for the final days before competition.
14-year-old Marissa Hawks is putting the final touches on her routines before she takes off to Langley to compete in the 2024 Western Canadian Artistic Gymnastics Championships. And unlike some other gymnasts, Marissa will be competing in all the events.
There's 4 events: floor, vault, bars, and beam. Personally, beam is my favorite. I like how you're cool and calm on it. There's floor, which is comparable to like a dance with some skills in it. Vault and bars is 2 bars and you jump and swing around them.
She'll be the first female athlete from the Prince George Gymnastics Club to head to Western since 2019, before COVID. With coach Jen Watt knowing that Marissa's hard work has paid off to earn herself a spot on Team BC.
It's a big deal. It's been a few years since we've had somebody go. She has worked so hard over the last couple years. Going into Western trials, I knew she had a good chance. It's always nice when we can have the North representing Team BC.
The events can be high-stakes situations for young gymnasts, with the club doing their best to prepare the athletes for the scenarios they might face on competition day. And it can be really beneficial when the routine is being scored by judges.
Lately, we've been doing a bunch more routines, and not my favorite, but my coach's favorite, pressure routines. Just someone watches that you're like scared of, or like a bunch of people watch, so it's like a big crowd almost. And then when I'm competing, I like to think it's one of those and it's no big deal, and if you fall, it's all good.
And it's always fun to go traveling to other cities to compete in what you love.
It's very cool to be from Prince George, where all the Vancouver competitions are mostly like teams from like Vancouver and like Victoria. Everyone's always curious and how far you drive, and yeah, it's fun.
The event will be taking place April 18th to 20th at the Langley Events Center. Anthony Correa, CKPG News.
The TSX is down 97 points to close at 21,643. The Dow Jones is up 64 points to close at 37,799. And Canfor went up 12 cents to close at $14.98.
Good evening again, everyone. We are in for a really nice trend after today. So we dealt with a bit of a low pressure system, a trough of low pressure that was bringing us clouds and some instability in many areas across the region. But now it's time for this beautiful ridge of high pressure, all that clear sky making its way in, some milder air pushing up from the south. So as we look forward to our future cast, there's not a whole lot to show. There is still some precipitation east of us. We know Calgary saw some snow today, but really for BC, look at that. Nice and clear over the next few days. There's a system out towards offshore, really, which will remain offshore and not directed towards us at all. So I don't think we'll see anything in the way of any more moisture, at least for the next several days. 10 degrees for our day tomorrow. Temperatures are back up into the double digits in many areas. And again, the winds are going to lighten up a bit as well. So it'll be very pleasant. And we'll start to see really the peak of this high pressure closer to the weekend, which will be lovely, just in time for everybody to be outdoors. 14 Kamloops, Vancouver, Kelowna sitting around that as well. Lots of sunshine, though, through the southern half up in the Peace. A nice change. Fort St. John sitting at 8 with beautiful sunshine. And you can see even up and down the coast, the skies remain nice and clear as that other system is really going to remain offshore. 10 degrees, Burns Lake, Vanderhoof. We're seeing the same sort of temperature trend across our broadcast region. A touch warmer down through Quesnel, but really beautiful sunshine everywhere you look. Few extra clouds maybe to begin your day in McBride, and 7 degrees degrees will be the high, so slightly cooler, but there will be a gradual climb in those numbers as we move forward through the week. This is a snapshot of the country, and while there's a lot of instability as we move east, that's for sure. 4 degrees in Edmonton and Regina, Winnipeg sitting into those cooler temperature ranges, along with clouds, showers, and even some wet snow showers or wet flurries out there. 11 over in Montreal, and we're seeing temperatures just a touch cooler along the east coast again. But sunny sky is what we'll look forward to, and you can see that there's that drier trend moving in, and that's going to really take hold of the province over the next few days. -7 and cool and clear tonight for Burns Lake. So again, overnight lows are still quite cool. Our daytimes, though, are improving up to 13 by the weekend in Burns Lake, and looking pretty good the next few as well. Lots of sunshine for Mackenzie tomorrow, but a clear and cool night tonight. Down to -6 is where you'll see that temperature drop to 11 with plenty of sunshine for Thursday, Friday, and then a beautiful 14 degrees on Saturday. And again, as I mentioned, that's the height of this ridge, or the peak of this ridge. That's when it's the strongest, is really going to be Saturday around our area of the province. 7 degrees for McBride tomorrow, up to 9 on Thursday, and there's the slow climb, 15 degrees on Saturday. Lots of sunny sky, though, right through the week and most of the weekend. Quesnel, again, sitting under a beautiful bright sky, plenty of sunshine the next few days. Overnights will still be below freezing, but you're up to 18 on Saturday. And for us as well, really beautiful weather trend coming towards us, or making its way in. 10 tomorrow, our high, and 11 Thursday. Beautiful sunshine right through the week and most of the weekend. Maybe a few little clouds rolling back in on Sunday, but mostly sunny for much of our cities. 15 degrees with sunshine on Saturday.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Try one of our delicious stuffed cheesy breads, paired up with chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
Game 3 goes tonight between the Prince George Cougars and the Kelowna Rockets. This time the Cats hit the road looking to continue their dominant play. Prince George is currently up 2-0 in the series after a 4-0 win in Game 1 and a 5-0 win in Game 2. Warrior Vallis looks to continue his stellar play. He was the only Cougar to score multiple goals last weekend, although practically everyone on the team put up a goal. Meanwhile, Kelowna will try to break Josh Ravensbergen, as they have yet to put a puck past the rookie netminder. Watch parties will be available tonight at the Canadian Brewhouse, at Nellie's Pub, and puck drop goes for 7:05 at Prospera Place.
Our mentality has to be to start on time and make sure we manage the puck. If you take care of the puck and you do good things with the puck, we can slow down some of their heavy push. And so the first, getting to the first TV timeout is going to be an important part of the game for us. And then we just build it from there. So I don't think we get too far ahead of ourselves and just take it shift to shift and keep that our focus.
You know what? I think the boys are playing good right now. I think we just got to stick to our game, and everything will fall into place right now. You know what? I think it changes a little bit, but I think my game fits the playoffs really well right now too. Playing physical and just keeping it simple. Pucks are going to the back of the net.
The NBA regular season has wrapped up, which means the playoffs are right around the corner. So we relive some of the best playoff moments from 2023. 3 teams in this countdown are once again in the postseason this year. Take it all in tonight's CKP3.
Let's start with Hemi Butler. Jimmy Butler always turns up for the playoffs, leading his team to multiple finals the past couple of years. Can he keep the magic going? Next, King James.
He wanted James, he gets him. James drives. James is fouled and one. LeBron!
This generation's GOAT that does not age showed up in last year's playoffs. The Lakers continue to stay competitive as long as number 23 is playing. Finally, a buzzer beater.
It's off to Smart for the 7th game. Could have been tipped in, but the buzzer sounded. The light was on. It'll be reviewed.
Derek White scores with less than a second to force a Game 7 between the Heat and Celtics. Playoffs always bring drama, and it's an exciting time for NBA fans in tonight's CKP3.
All right, folks, that's all for now. Thanks for joining us as always. We have a nice last look tonight. It's a wonderful mural of CKPG Today host Caden Fanshaw. Oh, wait, it's not? Close enough. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.